When I said I was going to be a dentist, I didn't know a single dentist. There were less than a handful of people. And when I say handful, I'm not sure there were up to five people I had the conversation with. Hello, my name is Jennifer Hawe. I am a dentist based here in Nigeria. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you proven ways I've been able to get out of my head and do the things I really want to do. The moment you start overthinking anything, you start seeing 1,001 reasons why that thing will not work. A typical example was starting my YouTube. When I was going to start a YouTube channel, there were so many things I didn't have. I didn't have a camera. My phone's camera wasn't even good enough. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have good lightning. I didn't have any of those because I was still in school and I didn't have so much money to like invest in all those things, right? So what I did was I said, okay, what am I going to do? What do I have? I have an idea. I have something I know I want to do. Like I have reasonable and meaningful content I want to put out there, right? I reached out to a friend of mine who owned a studio and I wanted to know if I could use the studio, right? I think that was when I made my very first video. I just sat down, used my phone, yes, my Android phone with the front camera, and I said all the things I wanted to say, right? And I put the video out there. Now that video is, I mean, if I look back at that video, it's on private now, so you may not be able to see. The reason I put it on private though was because I had a copyright claim because I didn't really know so much about YouTube. So someone that helped me with the editing put a regular song, like a regular Nigerian song there. So you know how it is now on YouTube. You can't use someone's song because of the copyright strike. So I got a strike on my first video. So I had to put it on private. But yeah, that was how I started, right? It wasn't wow, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't, but then people subscribed to my channel, right? People, I had my friends, cheer me on, post my videos, share my links, ask people to subscribe. People were commenting, encouraging me. It meant so much to me. It felt so good. And I was thinking, what if I didn't take this boat there? What if I didn't take this chance? I didn't even add that I didn't have a laptop. I know that for you to set up a YouTube channel, you need a laptop to set it up, right? I had to go to my friend's place to make use of their laptop to set up my YouTube channel. Yeah, it was that bad and it was that serious. But I really wanted to get it done, right? And I was able to do that. The point here is that the more time you spend thinking about what you want to do, the lesser your chances of actually doing those things, because the more you think about it, the more you're going to find reasons why it cannot work. And once you start seeing these reasons, somehow either the devil or our mind, they start magnifying these difficulties. So now you don't have a phone that has a good camera. It's going to tell you that your videos are whack, right? Your videos are not going to be good. And if your videos are not good, people are not going to watch those videos, right? And you say, okay, let me wait till I get a good phone or get a camera set, right? You don't know when that's going to be. You may eventually just lose interest in doing that stuff. Now think about something you've wanted to do at a particular time in your life and think of how you've given yourself excuses or how you came up with excuses on how you couldn't do them at that time. And then think of how many of them you've been able to achieve, right? So personally, what I do is don't overthink it, because that energy it takes you to think, a part of it can also be used to execute. And this is not to say that you shouldn't research, you shouldn't put in work, you should just jump into whatever you want to do. No, of course there's a place of research, preparation and all, but the emphasis is in overthinking. The second thing is don't over talk about it. The reason I'm big on not over discussing it is because there are things you want to do. You may have dreams and aspirations that people around you, regardless of how much they love you, they can't connect to those dreams and aspirations you have. And it's not that they don't believe in you, it's just that they just cannot see it happening. Do you understand? They just can't imagine it, they just can't picture it, right? So because they can't see it happening, chances are they want to, discourage you in a very positive way. They're not discouraging you from a bad place. They're not discouraging you because they're not doing it out of spite. They're doing it out of genuine concern, right? So imagine if in the early hundreds or whatever, before there were airplanes, somebody said to you that he wanted to make an airplane, something that was going to fly in the sky. You're going to look at him in a very bizarre way. Like, you're literally, I know I for one, I'm going to laugh, right? I'm going to laugh. Even if I don't mean it a bad way. But think about how crazy these ideas were and how people were able to bring it to fruition. Do you understand? So the point here is don't over discuss it. Not because it's not good to share your dreams, but because you can't really ascertain how the person you're sharing this dream with is going to take it, right? And Dreams are very delicate. If you mishandle them, you're going to lose them, right? If you share with the wrong people, they're going to trample on it. But it's similar to overthinking it. The overthinking is basically you against yourself, right? The over discussing it is basically you against the person, or you against the world, or whoever it is you're discussing it with, right? When I said I was going to be a dentist, I didn't know a single dentist. I didn't even know in details what dentistry involved. I just knew that, oh, I would like to be a dentist, right? And that was it. I they were less than a handful of people. And when I say handful, I'm not sure they were up to 5 people I had the conversation with, right? And even before I extended it to those 5 people, I had gotten to a level of deep conviction that there was basically nothing you were going to tell me to discourage me. I saved money and bought my jam form, even though my sister sent me money at some point, and then I had a friend who said, I want to support you and all of that. But primarily it was that serious. My dad didn't know I was going to do jam. I can't remember when exactly I told my mom about it, but in my house, it was just my sister that knew. That was the level of conviction I had, right? And it's still similar to this over discussing it. I didn't want to share this dream with somebody that would say, this dentistry that you want to study. I didn't want that. I didn't want to entertain any of those things. And I knew it was a long journey because I was already in school, right? I was already in school, in university, studying a different course. And I knew that it required so much work because at the time I was doing both the semester work, like the normal school academic curriculum, and I was preparing for JAM. Right, so I was going for tutorials. I'll stay back after tutorials to read, to do past questions, to do all of those things. So it required a lot of mental energy, and I didn't want any part of my mind or my brain to nurse any doubts. Do you get? And the moment I discuss it with anybody who doesn't believe in the power of that dream, the moment I discuss it with anybody who didn't believe in it, it meant that the person was going to sow a seed of doubt in my mind, right? So I didn't want that. That was basically why I didn't want to discuss it, right? So if there is something you want to do and you've gotten to that point of very strong conviction that this is what you want to do. Sorry, I had to check if my mic was still recording. And you have gotten to that point of very strong conviction that that's what you want to do. Just go on with it. You could tell people who you believe in, people who you're certain are going to give you their support and all. You could tell them, right? But don't over discuss it. Emphasis is in the over discussing it, right? Don't do that. It's not necessary. Just get on with it. Don't spend so much time planning. When I was in school, I used to have a to-do list. I still do have a to-do list. And sometimes when the session is starting, when the like maybe you're starting a new session, you just got into year 4 or year 5, right? Or maybe you're preparing for a test, whatever it is, you draw out a timetable, right? Personally, I'll spend so much time drawing my timetable, writing out the courses and the topics I was going to read each time. And the truth was, doing those things made me feel good, right? It made me feel like I have this, under control. I have this all figured out. I know how I'm going to do this, right? But you know what? Most times, by the time I'm done drawing that timetable, because they take a lot of time. Imagine breaking down all the subjects and the courses you have to study, breaking them down into time frames, timelines. They are good. I mean, people who saw it would feel like, oh, this girl is very organized, right? And I am. But the truth was that most times when I was done doing all those things, I wouldn't have the energy to now go and read because I had put in so much strength in planning what I was going to read, organizing it. And the truth was, doing those things, they produce a bit of dopamine, like, this feel good. I can't really explain it, but I just knew that it made me feel good, right? Now, flip the coins. Let's say you had something to do, right? And you're like, okay, today I'm going to read these 2 topics. And you just carry your school bag, sit on your reading table, or you go to class or the library or whatever, wherever it is you choose to read, and start reading. You're going to achieve more than the person who spent hours and hours and hours planning. Of course, it's not mutually exclusive. You can also spend time in planning and also spend time in executing. Emphasis here is over planning, that you want to plan into the tiniest bit, right? So there are people that have plans, they have things they want to do. This is 2024. You have already thought out the things that you want to do, right? But you're not going to do them because you're trying to envisage every problem that could arise every step along the way, and you're trying to find a way to eliminate that problem. The truth is that, first of all, You are not the professor of money heist, right? You cannot envisage every single problem. And even the professor, in the process of trying to envisage every single problem, he missed out on some things because there are things that are not within your power, right? There are things that you may not be able to envisage. That is why you're human. Your power is limited. It's only God that can see the end from the beginning, yeah. So if you're trying to do that, you'll be limiting yourself because you have to wait till you can sort out or find a solution to every potential problem. And the truth is, there are more problems than you can envisage. So why don't you just get started? In the process, you're going to now find solutions to the problem. There are even problems that it's only when you've already started that you can find the solution. The solution to the problems are in the job itself and not in your mind. So yeah, I think one of the things you can do is to start working, right? Rather than using all that time to plan, you can actually use some of that time that you're using to plan to get to work. The first thing is simplify what you want to do. If they're ambiguous, break them down into tiny bits, break them down into realizable bits. So, what's the typical example now? Let's say you have a textbook you want to finish. I don't know, maybe this 2024, you said you're going to read 30 books, right? For me, I said I'm going to read 12 books. Now, let me use myself as an example now. I want to read 12 books this year. What it means is that each month I'm going to read one book, right? So I've already started the book I'm reading for January, right? And I'm making progress. It means that each month I'm going to read one book. Now, for every book I choose for each month, I would look at how many pages does this book have, right? So if it's a book that has 500 pages, 300 pages, 700 pages, I'm going to look at how many days do I have in a month, basically. I'm going to divide the number of pages in that book by the number of days we have in a month. So I know that each day I have an average of so number of pages to read, right? It makes more sense, right? Because I know I cannot finish 12 books in one day or 12 books in 1 month because I have a job, right? So what I'm going to do is that, let's say this book is 300 pages and we have 30 days in a month. It means that on an average, I'm going to read 10 pages of that book in a day. Of course, there are days I can read more depending on what my schedule is like. But whatever happens, I'm not supposed to read less than 10 pages in a day. If for any reason I'm unable to read 10 pages, the days I've been able to read more than 10 pages should be able to cover for the days I've read less than 10. So at the end of the month, I should have finished reading the book. And sometimes I can even divide it by 20 days in a month so I can put a bit more pressure on myself. And then the remaining 10 days will be like, just in case, like bad as it bad. Or I could even start the other books I want to read. So basically, break your plans, your resolutions, the things you want to do, break them down into tiny bits. It could be that you want to lose weight, right? Losing weight is a journey, it is not something you start today and tomorrow you've already lost 10 kg. So you could say you want to work out, right? You may not be able to work out 30 minutes on a stretch every day, but you could do 5 minutes workout every single day. And if you do that consistently for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you're going to see an improvement. It may not be as drastic as you expect it or you want it to be, but there's definitely going to be an improvement. So these are ways to get out of your head and actually start doing something to get ahead. In my next video, I'll be sharing with you some hacks that I discovered that also help boost my level of productivity. I recently discovered them and they've been working for me quite well. And yeah, I'm willing to share them with you. So if you're interested in them, if you want me to talk about them in my next video, just let me know in the comments section. If you watched this video up until now, it means you found real value in it. Give it a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm to push it out to more people who are going to need this content. Thank you so much and see you in my next video. Bye.